Okay.
Hello, Chattanooga.
Yeah.
So glad to have you again here on Footnotes.
Yeah. I'm Dan Gibson.
Hey, and I'm Sam Hodem. We also have our names up on the screen.
Yeah.
If you're driving down the road and you're not looking at a screen.
Yes, indeed.
Now, guys, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for joining us here on Footnotes. This is a Cornerstone Apostolic Church's podcast where we just review, we kind of talk through the prior Sunday's message. We release every Wednesday. At least that's our plan.
Yep.
And so if you can, join us and listen in, make some comments. Let us know if we missed something. If you had some questions about something, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us on Facebook or shoot us an email. Also, you can find more information about us at cachattanooga.org. But I'm here today with Brother Dan and Pastor. He preached one for us this Sunday.
Yeah, we're on fire.
Yeah,
Fire. Literally, I mean it's a very timely message. We're Pentecost Sunday, talking about fire and the Holy Ghost, and it's just there was all kinds of directions my mind was going when he was talking about fire.
I know. Like I had like a video made to release on social media the day before, but something happened with the audio and we didn't release it. I was like, man, like he just went through the whole, like the history of it, of the day of Pentecost, the why behind it. Like it was pretty in depth. He did, some of it I was expecting him to come out of the gate just wide open, Pentecost Sunday.
Yep.
And he did, but differently.
Yeah, totally.
And dealt with some things. It felt
That's
like.
right. That's right. And we definitely ended up with a move of God. And talking about fire, I was thinking through the message, and of course, again, I said my mind's going all different directions. But fire was very important in the Old Testament time.
Yeah,
very important, and even from the very beginning, Moses at the burning bush. Wow, here's a bush in front of him. He is being chased, or they're trying to kill him, and he's on the backside of a desert, and he meets God in a fiery bush that is not burned up, not consumed, but it's there, and God begins to talk to him through fire.
That's true.
What a way to meet God, fire.
Yeah. I think very easily he could have went into that form of religion where you start worshiping nature.
Yep.
Oh, fire is my God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was very common.
Well, yeah, he came out of that. I mean,
did.
Israel, Israel's in captivity, and they're in Egypt, and the Egyptians are putting gods up. So it's been easy to flag this one. Oh, God.
Oh. God said, "I am that I am." He's like, "Oh, so you're fire?" He's like, "No, dude, don't limit me to that."
That's right. That was just one of those times that he met you in fire. But you move on through the Old Testament, and you find fire again where the children of Israel they are coming out of Egypt, and God is leading them with fire.
Yeah.
And so when fire stops, they stop. When it moves, they move. And so when we talk about fire, there is just a plethora of events through the Old Testament time where fire was very important. An altar was built.
There was
fire come down, consumed it.
Now, you were talking about the fire. So the bush, the cloud, the altar. One, the bush didn't burn up.
Right. It was not consumed.
No. And very unnatural as far as like the last thing that a bush in the desert wants to be is on fire.
Right.
but it actually became its purpose through the fire.
Yeah.
I know that's super allegorical there, and maybe reaching. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
so.
But you know, I mean, we can look at all of those things because the Bible's full of typology.
Yeah.
It's just full of experiences that lead us, and we can actually take it and type it to what God is trying to tell the church.
Yeah.
You know, and so when we think about fire in a bush, yeah, it served its purpose and it served it in its time. But then God moves on through the Old Testament, even into the New Testament, where God is still, he is still consuming with fire.
Yeah.
I mean, his fire comes down. You know, just in chatting earlier, you know, we were talking about how that altars were built and fires. You know, that altar is where it's not made for crying.
No.
It's not made for praying.
No.
It's made for sacrifice. It's made for death, and then it's consumed by fire.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what happened on the day of Pentecost, these people were in an upper room with this experience going on, and the scripture says that there was fire as cloven tongues that set upon each of them.
Yeah.
And this fire came down, and it was, and I find it interesting. Now, again, I know you say you grab for things sometimes, and you're thinking, "Am I really grabbing for this? And is this a little too far fetched?" No, I mean, why would fire come to somebody's head?
I mean, probably not to singe their hairs.
No, no. You know, again, I mean, what goes on in the brain, in the head? The brain is active. There's
the wheel,
the
thoughts.
there you go. The will of man is there. You know, and when you come to an altar, is God's fire is always it never sits.
It's always consuming.
It's always moving. Yeah. And it's something that we have to continually come back to an altar, and it's not a one time and done.
Yeah.
You come back to an altar, and God's fire consumes and singes those selfish thoughts and that selfish man again.
Yeah. So I heard about, and this is maybe out of that just a little bit, but I heard about a guy, and that he told his wife, you know, I told her I loved her on the day I married her, and that was enough. If anything changes, I'd let her know. I think, and that's an extreme case there. I don't know who it was. I just heard of this. Okay, more than once, but
yeah, better say it again.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, that's not going to work. But I think sometimes, and if I may, men and women, I want to separate that out just for a minute, because we do approach God differently.
Yeah.
I think sometimes men have a tendency to say, well, yeah, I repented once. Me and God had a talk. It's like, hang on, you're pretty stubborn.
Yeah.
You're pretty mean.
Me and the man upstairs had a talk.
Yeah. And that's a manly way of going. I get it. I understand that. But the process of the nature or the wheel breaking.
Yeah.
Like that's Paul said it. I die daily. That's an everyday thing.
That's why that altar is so important.
Yeah.
You can have an altar and never really get what you need until you ask for fire. God sends your fire. You know that I think that's the key when we talk about this and I'm definitely not in Pastor's element today with his message, but I think it's so important that when we ask for God to consume those things in our life, on that altar, is we're saying, God, not my will, but thine, on that altar. and and I chased some rabbits when I started thinking through the message, because we have the day of Pentecost and we have all of these events that took place in the Bible. We had where fire came down, and where and Hebrews 12:29 says that our God is a consuming fire. So everything that you're going through and everything you're faced with, those are little things.
Yeah.
When you're talking about being consumed, and I really feel like that's where we're going to see revival. I really do. Is when we
Consumes our passion, ourselves.
That's right. That's right. When we are consumed completely, we surrender everything and we say, God, it's on the altar. Now you do what you do best, and that's when the fire comes.
So, Duran, as worship was ending Sunday, he's like, guys, we'd been singing over our city, God move in this city. We'd been singing and worshiping and praying that, and he kind of came out and he was like, look, some of us I feel like some of us are having a hard time praying this because we're keep dragging up the same old things.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, we got to find a place to let God consume that. And then Pastor gets up and preaches about fire. Just right in line there of what you're talking about, of laying, like those things. Everybody's got issues.
Yeah.
Like everybody's got problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
When the fire consumes us instead of the issues consume us.
Right.
Like that's when we're in the kingdom, such as the kingdom of heaven. Like when we're going through the Beatitudes this year. So blessed are those that are persecuted. Blessed are those that are this. Blessed are those, and it's not good things. It's
right.
not blessed are the rich. No, it's blessed are the poor.
Yeah.
In spirit. So if I'm tracking with you here, that consuming fire consumes our circumstances and allows us to be.
That's right.
We're in the kingdom then.
Because once you give that to God, and He consumes it, it's no longer. I'm no longer able to handle it.
That's so that plays into why men would approach the altar differently.
Then I say, it's nothing but ashes now. Well, I don't have anything, and I think that as humans, and I say as humans because it can be all of us. We like sometimes to have that to hold on to.
Yeah.
We like to have something that we can hold on to. And that is not the will of God. We want to know what the will of God is? Find an altar and be consumed.
That's good stuff.
I mean, if we want to know what direction do I go with this, let God consume it, and then you say, what do I have now? It's nothing but ashes. It's yours, God. And now I'm asking God, okay, now I'm in the will of God.
Yeah.
I'm in the will of God when I have allowed Him to consume that. I have the mind of God now.
So, yeah. So at the end of time, He said He's going to consume everything with a fervent heat.
Yes, sir.
And all that remains.
It was all His from the beginning.
Yeah. So
He's taking it out. So
if we don't give it up now, we're going to give it up at some point in time.
He's going to burn it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all His. And I really, again, I go back to the fact as, we're looking for revival.
Yeah.
As a church, we're looking for revival. If we're going to see the revival that God has, we've got to ask God, okay, God, I've built you an altar. I mean, you think about the prophet.
Mm-hmm.
He built an altar, and he put everything he could into it, and he says, God, you show out for him. I'm gonna pour water on. I'm gonna do all this, and God come down and consumed it because those people needed to know. And I really feel like that fire is going to be the number one key.
Yeah.
When we build the altar, God will come.
So when we're prepared to give whatever it is up, that's when God will move.
Yeah, Sam. I don't think for a moment that we can look and say, I'm able to handle that on my own. I can do this. That's whether it be a circumstance, an issue of maybe an addiction.
Yeah.
I feel strongly about the fact that the majority of the time, the reason we struggle with things is because we have not put it on the altar.
That's true. I heard a gentleman, and I think he was probably a little more in like Eastern Orthodox type, but he was talking about sin. He was talking about some things to deal with, and he brought up a point of it's the point of we need to continually, if like we fail, we the devil knows we're gonna do it, and he's like, you're gonna fail, dude. You're human. You got to bring it to God. He's like, but the part that, and I'm going to do a terrible job explaining this, but the part that the devil is trying to get us into is the part of despair, to where we're like, we start identifying with that failure or with that issue, and we stop bringing it to God.
Yeah. We start handling it ourselves.
Yeah. So it's not not to excuse the sin, but to just give up on ourselves and try and say, well, I'm just in despair. I'm a hopeless case. God doesn't know any hopeless cases.
No.
Now, I know a few hopeless cases, I feel like, but I'm not God, so that's good.
Well, and as long as we stay in this fleshly nature, this body, But I think sometimes we as humans need to crawl on that altar and say, God, every part of me.
And not in despair.
That's right. That's right.
That's a hard thing. That's what the fire's for.
Oh man, that's some good stuff right there. And you just talking about enemies, that was one of the many things that happened. I mean, your enemies could be consumed. Your enemies is consumed by fire, because we serve a God that's what He is. And as long as we keep Him in that position and we keep the altar there before us, then whatever it is, God, I got this thing on my back and I can't seem to shake it. Boom.
Well, that's nice. That follows that order, though. In covenant with God, as a man,
sir.
As a man, I need to be in covenant with God because there are so many things I can't carry. And then in that God, husband, wife order, like
family,
that family, that structure of responsibility, like, I mean, I'm not trying to throw that in at the end here, but like it ties into that.
Yeah. I mean, that is, and that is the key. God, I need to be.
Yeah.
What does the scripture say? It says, present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable. And that is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
That is.
Wow.
Well, I am so glad you guys have tuned in to talk with us today, and to maybe thank you, Dan, for the information, for the wisdom.
Oh man, that's God stuff.
Yeah, it gets good quick, and then 40 minutes later, we're still doing a podcast. So I want to say thank you guys so much for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Feel free to share with your friends. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear more from you. God bless.
Good stuff.
Also, we need a drum set.
Yeah.
That small drum set.
It's good.